Today we're going to keep going with our creative procedure writing that Miss Smith started last week. So if you can't remember the story that she read to you last week, How to Wash a Woolly Mammoth, now would be the perfect time for you to stop this video, jump back into hers, have a listen to the story again, then come back and find out what we're doing today. All right, so in Miss Smith's lesson, you learned about how our traditional procedures are different from our creative procedures, but you also learned what they have in common. They both have a heading or a title, they both have materials, and they both have steps. So today we're going to start writing our own creative procedures, which is so much fun because, like Miss Smith said, you get to use your imagination, you get to be creative, and also add a good dose of humour to make it entertaining. So I'm not going to ask you to write a whole procedure today. We're going to break it up into steps so that we don't rush, and instead we do a really good job. So today we're going to look at this part of the procedure.
So this is the goal of this procedure, and it's broken into two parts. The green part here is a question. Does your woolly mammoth need a wash? It's not a very easy thing to do. And then here in the blue bit, it's a tricky part that explains why it's not a very easy thing to do. Woolly mammoths are quite big, and wool is notoriously thick and tricky to clean. Don't worry, just follow this step-by-step guide. And together, these two parts make the goal.
So for today's lesson, you're going to do three things for me. You're going to come up with a mythical creature that you want to write a procedure for. You're going to come up with the title of your procedure, and then you're going to come up with that question and the tricky part, which is the goal of your procedure. So, what is a mythical creature, I hear you ask? Well, a myth is a story that has been told for many years and probably isn't true. It's a bit like a fairy tale. So a mythical creature is a creature from these stories. Some that you might be familiar with are dragons, unicorns, trolls, just to name a few. See what you can come up with for your procedure. To show you how to write a really good creative procedure, Miss Smith and I are going to work together to write a procedure about how to feed a dragon. So let's get started.
So the heading of our procedure is going to be How to Feed a Dragon. And then my goal, which is the question, do you have a hungry dragon that needs feeding? And a question mark on the end because it's a question. It's a bit of a dangerous job. And then the second part of my goal, which is explaining the tricky bit, why it's such a dangerous job. Dragons can be quite grumpy when they are hungry, and their breath can be extremely fiery. Then I'm going to add a bit of a disclaimer down the bottom here. Don't worry. Don't worry though. Just follow these steps and you should be safe. So just like in the goal of How to Wash a Woolly Mammoth, I have here in the green my question. And then here in the blue, I've got the tricky bit explaining why it's such a tricky, dangerous job. And together, these parts make the goal of our procedure.
And that's all we want you to do today in writing. Come up with your mythical creature, give it your procedure a title or a heading, and thirdly, write your goal, which is the question and the tricky part. Easy, right? You can submit that into today's writing assignment on Google Classroom, and then tomorrow, Miss Smith will give you another little lesson on how to do the next step.